Welcome to our training on computer output devices. A computer is an electronic device that is used to store, display, and manipulate data given by the user. A computer can only work when all its components, input units, output units, storage unit, and processing units work together in sync. Here we will talk about output unit and its devices. At the end of this course, you should be able to identify what is an output device, functions of output devices, uses of output devices, the difference between input and output devices, examples of output devices of computer, and types of computer output devices. What is an output device? The output device are used to convert the computer produce output into human readable form. The output device takes information from the computer and presents it into their form in terms of projection, display, or on paper. So, in other words, an output device translates what is processed by the computer system into a form that the user could understand. What are some of the functions of an output device? Output devices have one main function, helping us experience the information a computer processes. Whether it's showing a picture, playing a song, or printing a document, they translate digital data into something we can see, hear, or touch. For example, monitors let us view images and videos, printers turn digital documents into physical copies, and speakers play audio. These devices makes it possible for us to interact with the computer output, so without them, all the data would just stay on the machine, invisible and unusable to us. Output devices are incredibly useful because they let us interact with the information a computer processes. Think about your monitor. It lets you watch movies, browse the web, or work on documents. Then there are printers which are perfect for making hard copies of digital files like reports or pictures. If you want to listen to music or a podcast, you rely on speakers or headphones. Projectors are also super handy, especially in schools or offices, allowing you to present ideas to a large group. Finally, in specialized areas like healthcare, output devices show critical data or crucial data, helping doctors monitor patients' stats in real time. So, what are some of the differences between the input and output devices? An input device, as we discussed before, the computer input device converts the data entered into the computer system into binary language and sends it into the computer system for processing. Some of our examples of input devices that we spoke about before would have been keyboard, mice, and scanner. So, what is now the difference between an output device? The output device are peripheral devices that are used to convert the output processed by the computer system into a form that the human could understand. These devices either display the output on the screen, print on paper, or through any other form. Example, printers, monitors, projectors, and headphones, in which you're going to see a little bit in later on in our lesson. So, what are some of the examples of output device? Of course, a monitor, because we know a monitor is an output device that displays output in the form of images and digital screens. The images forms are made up of millions of tiny dots called pixels. So, we're going to talk about pixels. The more pixels, the better resolution of the image. Earlier monitors had screens made up of what you call cathode ray tube or CRT, but are now replaced by flat panel display as an example there. Let us discuss what is the difference between the CRT and the flat panel display. This is an example of a cathode ray tube. It have a big structure behind the screen that helps to display characters and images on a monitor. That display side consists of phosphorescent screen. The screen lights up when a beam of electrons hit the screen from the cathode filament. The electrons are detected and accelerated, and that is how the images are formed on the screen. So the CRT based monitors have its disadvantages. It pulls especially enormous amount of current. It requires large spaces to store them. They're extremely heavy, and this lead them to get into what they consider as the technology to advance into flat panel display. So flat panel display, for example, this is an example here, comes in non-emissive display, LCD, and emissive display, LED, or plasma panel display are some of the examples of what you call flat panel display. And most of you all would be familiar with LED screens and LCD screens and so on, especially those that are being placed now on laptops and calculators. One of the main output devices that we want to touch on is printers, and that is considered as a peripheral device. The output from the computer is achieved in paper form via printers. So the data gets printed on paper, which can be both colored or black and white, image, text, or even both. Printers can be divided into impact printers and non-impact printers. Impact printers is where the printer mechanism hits the paper like a dot matrix printer. You all can research what dot matrix printer does. That is when the print is like a typewriter that hits the paper, pounding against each one of the characters on the paper in order for the characters to be printed out. The non-impact printers that we are familiar with, and those are the ones that are used today, is like inkjet printers, laser printers, and so on. And inkjet printers is one of the printers that are sold worldwide and are household use printers, which are charged electronically, drops of ink that is being placed on the paper itself for characters, images, and text to be displayed. Headphones. Of course, we know headphones is designed for playing music, for listening to music, I should say. This is one of the main output devices that I use, and some people use it, especially for DJs as well, to listen to songs and recordings of a computer system. Which brings us now to speakers, which does the same thing, but the speakers are more loud. Listening to music, movies, recordings, and so on. And these are some of the examples of output devices. Global position systems, of course, is used to navigate. Most of you all know that the purpose to connect satellites to help us to determine our location and if our device is connected or not. GPS now is major. It is a worldwide system and it is used to interact with your particular location on a map, and a map is movable and it updates in real time. Sound card, which is known to be attached to what you consider an expansion slot that converts the audio from the computer itself and sends it out into a speaker form. All right. And we could also attach a microphone as an input device to as well to send audio signals or speech signals into the sound card. And these are one of the devices that are responsible for audio recording, connecting of joysticks, and so on. Then we talk about plotters. Now, these are very expensive, and plotters are normally used in the industry, especially for printing t-shirt, printing engineering drawings, and architectural designs, because they are very big, printing license plates, and they are very high resolution plotters too that are responsible for printing banners and signs. So, what are some of the types of outputs in conclusion we're going to be looking at? Output devices are the part of a computer that lets us actually interact with the information processed or the information that was processed. As you could see, it displays printing, it makes us listen to music, it makes us listen to songs. There are visual outputs like audio outputs, print outputs like printers, headphones, and so on. So these are the different types of outputs that we could categorize into three main types: visual outputs, printer outputs, and audio outputs. So the printer outputs, we talk about inkjet printers and laser printers that we're already familiar with as well as 3D printers that are now coming as a buzz on the market system. And one of the things about inkjet printers, we also like refer to them as household printers. And laser printers, which are a little bit more expensive, produce what they call high quality prints. So today we discuss output devices in detail And by now, you're supposed to be able to identify what is an output device, what is the functions of an output device, uses of output devices, and the difference between input and output devices. We talk about examples, and also we talk about the types of output devices.